What is going on, boys and girls? This is Tony Hannity from LazyTechGuys.com. We're going to take a little quick walkthrough on the brand new T-Mobile Samsung Galaxy S Relay 4G. Now this might look a little familiar. There have been some leaked photos of this phone in the past couple of weeks. Samsung and T-Mobile finally announced the phone on the 5th of September, but they haven't yet released a price, nor have they released a launch date. In the interim, though, we're going to go ahead and take a look at it, and hopefully you'll like what you see. So let's go ahead and look at the hardware. You've got your micro USB port on the bottom here, volume toggle on the side, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and your on and off switch here. On the back here, you've got your Galaxy S logo, speaker, 5 megapixel rear shooter with a single flash LED. If you open it up, this is where you'll find your 1800 milliamp battery. It's also where you can fit your micro SD cards, and then of course the SIM is in the bottom. Now this battery, if you can't see here, it's actually supported for near field communication. So NFC is available and can be used on the phone. The screen is a 4-inch Super AMOLED display. You've got a 1.3 front shooter, and also finally a physical button for the home key at the bottom here, as well as your menu and your back. So it is, for all intent and purposes, let me show you guys, running, if you can see it, Android 404. So that's ice cream sandwich. I don't know if this is going to get Jelly Bean, to be perfectly honest with you. But for what it is, it runs fairly nicely, fairly well. It's, I believe, the latest version of TouchWiz. As you can tell from the front lock screen, that's the same dandelion that was made popular and famous from the Galaxy S3. And for those of you who don't know, dandelion's kind of like a weed. You know, you're basically, you blow that to make a wish, that's making weeds. Not the other weed, but, you know. Anyway, so from the lock screen here, you can just swipe on the screen to unlock the phone, or you swipe up to activate the shortcuts. And you can change the shortcuts to be whatever you like. But what comes standard on the phone is phone, messaging, and camera. Now also, this is what makes the phone, I guess, famous. This is a 5-row QWERTY keyboard, so you've got your number row at the top, and your QWERTY on the sides here. Alt will get you the different functions. So if you hit the Alt key, you'll have tab, which is very handy, I must say, to be able to tab instead of just space, space, space to the proper section that you want to be, well, tab to, so to speak. You've got your .com. And then also you've got a button for microphone, a voice search, so you can actually just hit that, and it gives you the voice action. Or if you're in a section where you can type, let's just bring it up here to compose, this is where you can actually speak to the phone, and it'll allow you to do the typing for the voice typing with ice cream sandwich. So can be very, very handy with that. Aside from that, the typing is pretty standard. If you've ever tried to type on a full QWERTY keyboard Android device, the buttons are fairly spaced out. They do have a few other shortcuts here. For example, to get to a brand new text message, you just click on this little bubble here. And then to get to a brand new email message, not Gmail, but email, that you have to be specific with that. You can click on this button here, and it'll get you to a regular email. We haven't set up email here yet, but you know, once you set that up, you can just click on there and composes a brand new email. Like I was mentioning, this is the latest version of TouchWiz, so you do get the S voice, so you can say things like "Hi Galaxy" and it wakes it up for you. With a swipe down, you have your power controls, so Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, airplane mode, power saving mode, driving modes, all that stuff can be controlled up here, as well as your brightness level can be controlled up here too. This is kind of new for me. This is kind of an ongoing I guess banner that tells you how many minutes and text messages that you've been doing on T-Mobile. And then, as always, to kind of get rid of a notification, you just swipe and it gets rid of a notification. To take a screenshot on this, no matter where you are, all you have to do is hold the home button as well as the power button. So if we do that here, there you go. I know some people have been asking about that. The back button pretty much does the same thing as any of the back button does. And then the menu button, if you just tap it, it brings up the menu depending on what application you're in. Otherwise, if you hold down on it, it brings up the search option. So that also goes for if you're in messages, for example, and you want to search for a particular message that you had with someone, you just hold that down and it will do a quick search for messages. And then also, even handier, if you're in contacts, well, I guess you have a contact search. Let's do something else that's handy. Calendar. There's calendar. Alright, so you're in calendar, you want to search for something in calendar, hold down on that, and it'll search within calendar. There you go. Found that to be quite handy. And then, as always, if you hold this button down, the home button, it brings up the task manager or app switcher. So you can just tap on a different app to open it up, or you can swipe to close, or remove all. And that would irrevocably close out all of the different applications that you have running. So there's really not much on this phone that is, I guess, a wow factor per se. I mean, it doesn't have amazing features. I mean, the camera is only 5 megapixels, whereas some of the other phones that are out are, 8 megapixel, and then, LG has a 13 megapixel camera. But I guess what was really a good selling point for this phone is, well, compared to its predecessor, which was the Galaxy S Blaze 4G, this one is already prepped and ready to go if it wants to get a Jelly Bean, but it does have ice cream sandwich, which is probably more than enough. It is running off of T-Mobile's 4G HSPA Plus 42, so you'll get as fast a speed as you can get with the pink network. Otherwise, you can always switch over to Wi-Fi, as I usually do here at home. To give you an idea of what 4G would be, let's go ahead and do a speed test using Ookla. And if you haven't ever tried 4G with HSPA Plus, it's not terrible. I mean, I guess the big problem is it's not as prevalent as 4G LTE is starting to be. Okay, so in any case, the big problem that I had about this phone really was, well, I really didn't have that many problems with it. I guess one thing that was annoying was that when this was in my pocket, even with it locked, if I do this, it unlocks it. Close it, and it's still unlocked. So if it somehow opens up, it can turn on. So I would put a password if you don't want it to accidentally dial somebody while you're in the movie theater or something like that, in an important meeting or in an intimate situation. Also, when it comes to the overall speed of the phone, I use Antutu, which is a benchmark test, to kind of see how it pans out. So if you read the full review on LazyTechGuys.com, I explained there, but essentially the speed of this phone was actually better than the Galaxy Note, but obviously not as good as the Galaxy S3. So with that being said, if you are in the market for a phone that is a good transition from a BlackBerry, let's say, where you have a physical keyboard, but you don't want to take the jump to a full touchscreen phone, it's a little bulky as phones go, but it's really because of that keyboard. The battery life, it's about a day, I'm not going to lie. With any of these other phones, because of the makeup of Android, it generally lasts about a day. It's only 1800 milliamps, so you can't really expect much out of it. I'm assuming that somebody like Cydio is going to make an extended life battery for you, but it's already thick, so I would just recommend bringing an extra charger with you. The camera, it isn't the best, so if you're looking for a really good upgrade on the camera, I would consider maybe looking at the Note or the Galaxy S3 if you want to stay with the Samsung family. But if you've got a phone, let's say, I don't know, like an LG Lotus, well, that's on Sprint. But if you got a phone with like a 3 megapixel camera, the 5 megapixel is going to be more than enough for you. I just wouldn't have you expect some amazing photography for like Instagram or something like that. Like I mentioned, the price of the phone and the actual launch date is still up in the air, but from what I can tell, it's going to be September 19th, which is next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. So if that's true, we'll let y'all know about that. But in the meantime, like I said, go ahead and check out the full review on LazyTechGuys.com. Hopefully you get some more information and more answers on this phone, and hopefully this review was a lot more comprehensive than some of the other reviews that we've had in the past. I just want to quickly lastly touch on some applications that you can either get on the phone or that already comes with the phone. So for example, like I said, S-Voice already comes with the phone. That's part of TouchWiz. T-Mobile mobile hotspot, you'd have to pay extra, but this phone does have that ability for that. Obviously you have Maps. It came with Lookout, which is a great mobile security application. Comes with Dropbox. Comes with GameBase, so that's kind of like T-Mobile's game subscription center. Google Plus is already on there, and you got a bunch of other kind of T-Mobile, like Mobile Life Organizer, T-Mobile applications on there as well too. So that's pretty much it. I mean, when it comes down to it, with Android, the beauty of it, I could show you every corner of this UI, and you could completely change it if you download like the Chameleon launcher or something like that. So when it comes to like testing out these phones and demonstrating these phones, what I like to really kind of focus on is the hardware and the speed. And there's running a dual-core 1.5 gigahertz processor. It's actually an S3 processor from Snapdragon, or Snapdragon, aka Qualcomm. So for what it is, it's very good. It does 3D graphics fairly well. You can watch videos pretty nicely. It is a Super AMOLED screen, so it's as HD as you can get with this kind of aspect ratio. And I would say the only reason why you'd want to get something else is screen size, battery life. I wouldn't, probably maybe a little bit better camera, but all in all, if you need a physical keyboard and you're going to T-Mobile, I would definitely check this phone out. If you don't need a physical keyboard, probably not this phone. But yeah, hopefully this was enough information and it wasn't too confusing for all of you guys. I really appreciate the feedback that you're giving us on YouTube. And as always, have a great day. Take care. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, and all of our podcasts, netcasts on Stitcher, Blueberry, Blackberry, everything. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.